Alright, hi guys, Chris here with Armattan Quads. There's something new I'd like to show you. It's been a while now, again, since I've made a video like this. I've got a new design to show you. Before I show it to you though, I would like to answer 4 questions for those guys who may not watch the whole video. And I'll answer it right away. The first thing is, when will this be available for order? About 6 weeks, but there's a possibility that we are going to open pre-orders a little bit earlier than that, maybe a few weeks earlier, to get an idea of the demand, because we have never before released a model so small. So we're not sure, we're not familiar with this, I guess this segment of the FPV market. So we have not decided on that yet, but I guess we'll decide in the coming weeks there whether we accept pre-orders or not. That covers pre-orders and ETA. Next thing is price. Price has not been decided yet. One reason for this, and this touches on the last question, which is the warranty, is that we are considering having an optional warranty on this model and likely on upcoming models as well. So instead of making the warranty mandatory with your purchase, you'll be able to opt out if you want and get the frame at a cheaper price. One thing that allows us to do this is that all our I guess our new releases, upcoming new releases, will have serial numbers on them. So it'll be much easier for us to verify which frame is warranted, which one isn't, if we wanted to go that route. So that's it for the 4 questions. So let's now show you guys what we worked on. This right here is the Armattan Tadpole. It's kind of a funny name really, but I don't know, it just stuck. And in French, especially in French Canadian, it sounds absolutely horrible. But anyways, that's the Tadpole. It's basically a 2.5-inch props build, or 65mm props. I got tri-blades on there now. This will fly well with dual blades as well, but currently that's the best setup that we found that flies really well on this, what you're looking at here. Not in terms of flight controller now, just in terms of propellers and motors. The motors are 1103, 8000 kV. And as far as the stack, we're testing different things now, but it is 16 by 16. You got your 4-in-1 ESC and a flight controller stack there in a dual stack. On this, I'm also running a FlySky receiver and a Unify Nano VTX. So it's basically, this thing is, it's kind of funny because it can actually go quite far. Meanwhile, it's really small. I can get good range on this, very solid video, very solid reception with your radio. And so yeah, it's pretty neat if you ask me. What else? Excuse me. I'm going to talk about the design goals on this. The first thing that I was really reluctant about working on something this small is weight, because we know what the weight is of the competition, and this was a major constraint in order to make something that A, I like, and that B, meets certain requirements in terms of design goals. And one of them, which was probably the most important one, is I wanted to have a top-mounted LiPo. And I knew that by having a top-mounted LiPo, from there, instead of using just a main plate with a pod in the middle, like most frames this size you become a lot more restricted in terms of weight, because you're adding an extra carbon fiber plate. And then, of course, in order to keep the carbon fiber plate attached somehow, you're going to need some posts or something. In this case, we went with custom rear aluminum brace and custom aluminum front cage on this. So yeah, the weight was important. Now we're coming up with this now at 17 grams, everything included, all the hardware, bolts installed, 17 grams. Add the foam on there, you're up to 17.5 gram once you add the foam on there. And given the powertrain we got on there, that's highly reasonable. This thing, so far, everyone who's tried it says, it feels like a 5-inch quad, basically. On 4S, it's got lots of power, lots of oomph. The power to weight ratio is very good on this setup. what else in terms of design goals? Of course, the weight was important, top-mounted lipo was important, and then I wanted to have protection for the cage, for the camera, right? And I wanted to have a decent provision for an antenna at the back. Those sort of were the things I had in mind when I started drawing this up. So let me tell you a little bit about it. The front is basically an aluminum brace on each side. This is a run cam, nano run cam. And one thing that we ran into issues with this front part here is that the nano cams all have different lenses, different size lenses, different length of lenses, and it's just about impossible to make them all fit, is what it comes down to. They all fit in terms of width, but not all of them will have full protection of the cam braces. Some of them, the lens will stick past a little bit at high tilt mostly. At low tilt, you won't have much of that on the major cams on the market at the moment. Once you go a little bit steeper up, you may have a little bit of your camera at the front being exposed there. But not with the run cam nano. And I believe same thing with the turtle. Not the turtle, the what's it called? Cadex version of this. One of the Fox here we tested is a lens a little bit too long, so on high tilt it may stick out a little bit there. It will stick out a little bit there. Yeah, so what else to say about this? At the rear here, let me point this out. It's maybe not easy to see in the video. Trying to get a good angle so you may be able to see it. Right there. Over here, this is a rubber part. It's hard rubber. And it mounts into each side like this. And then it creates a resting spot at the top here. Just like that. There's the rubber right here. Creates a resting spot there for your antenna, and it's nicely restricted there. And won't get in the way of the props. That's nice. The top plate is slanted a little bit back. This, I suppose, will create a bit more aerodynamic, a better aerodynamics going forward, or worse for that matter, one of the two. It doesn't matter much. The idea behind this was to reduce weight at the back end. So we went as narrow as we could, and then of course we lowered down as low as we could while being able to fit what we can in there. And that's basically the dimensions we came up with. Some of it were for aesthetics as well. Originally, when I drew this, I liked the idea of having a slanted top plate, and some will argue that because it's slanted, it's less prone to crumble, whatever the verb is. But that's likely debatable. What else I can say about this? 118 millimeter. From motor center here to motor center here, 118 millimeter. The frame weighs, as I said, 17 grams without the foam, 17 and a half with the foam. What else? Those are not big bolts here. We're keeping the weight down. It's very easy assembly. 4 bolts at the top, 4 bolts at the bottom, and that's it. Some guys may ask about the motor mount. Does it support 3-hole mount? It does not. It does not. We tried a whole bunch of different ways to make this work in conjunction with 3-hole, and it either introduced too much weakness in the mount, right, or it just looked really weird. And so we decided to opt out of that. Guys will ask, will a Whoop AIO FC fit on this? And the answer is it would, but it's going to mount with only two screws, 2 bolts, and likely you're going to need maybe a little bit 3D printed arrangement for this. Likewise with the 25 by 25 boards, they're going to need some sort of 3D printed adapter to fit on there. This is for 1616 now, as you can see. There's your 1616 on the bottom. People asked, I'm sure people will ask, will we build this? Yes, we will. We're still in the process at this point. We've got about a month left here of testing different components to pick basically what's best. But I'll tell you, we really like this motor so far and these props. It's not really noisy when it hovers and flies. It's got a really nice sound and it's really smooth. Let me grab a sip of a drink here. What other questions people may ask? I read someone asking, because we shown this yesterday online. Someone asked, is it for racing or freestyle? It's very much for freestyle. It's for having fun, basically. It's a little guy. I think it's a fantastic thing for traveling. Like, look at how small it is. Pull the props off. You can put that in your, side pouch on your backpack. Literally, it's so tiny. But I suppose you could race it if you were to have races with friends or whatnot. You could be able to raise this, but it's really small. And then, yeah, I think that's it. That's all my notes. So that's it, guys. This is the Armattan Tadpole. I'll give you one last look before I end the video. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you like it. Cheers.